Well, hello. I hope you all are having a super duper fantastic evening. Yes, it's Dineen, 12 days of Christmas. It's day five. It's day five on the fifth day of Christmas. My true love gave to me. Yes, come on, let's go. All right, now don't be talking about my singing. The girl, I do know how to sing. Don't play with me. Don't play. But anyway, it is the 12 days of Christmas. We're here with Lashawn Mikell Esquire. She about to drop some knowledge on it. So here's what I always like to do. I like to go ahead and encourage you. Go get your pen. Go get your paper, and I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself while you ripping and running and pulling and snatching and grabbing and doing all those things. My name is Dineen Merriweather. I am the CEO and founder of Queenpreneurs Jumpstart Program. It is the #1 training environment for women in the world looking to leverage their knowledge, ignite their passion, build a highly profitable business by building your courage, confidence, and competence so you can accept, believe, and commit to what it is that God has called you to do. Okay, hopefully you have had enough time to go grab what you need to grab because the nugget's about to be dropped. But now I want to give my sissy an opportunity to introduce herself and to let you know what it is that she's doing.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dineen, again for having me for the 12 days of Christmas. I think this is 3 years in a row or 4 years. Is it 3 years in a row?
Well, this is my 4th year. Did you do it year 1?
I think so. So I'm going to say 4 years in a row, or maybe not. But I wouldn't say 4 years in a row. I've been here all the time. I don't know if I participated, but I've been here. So thank you so much for having me. But for all of you all that don't know who I am, I'm Lashawn Mikell Esquire, founder and CEO of Cycles of Life Estate Planning Company, where we're moving people from financial security to financial freedom while building a financial legacy that will last a lifetime. You say, Lashawn, how do we do that? Well, we're going to ace that thing, and what that means is we're going to assess, we're going to consult, and then we're going to execute all your estate planning and financial needs. So, Dineen, you told me that the theme this year is honoring yourself. Yes. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You got to honor yourself. And, for me, I usually take the theme for the 12 days of Christmas into the new year. So the new year on the platform is going to be things and conversations to assist you with honoring yourself and whatever area of life you want to focus on.
All right. So today you're going to honor yourself by building a trust. And so the topic this year is going to be the mechanisms and the components of a trust. Because all the time I get the question, do I need a trust? Should I have a trust, etc.? And I say, yes, it depends. So today I'm going to give you all the things that need to be in place for a trust. And then we're not even going to talk about the assets, because you can put in a trust as small, little or as much as you like. But I'm going to briefly talk about the assets, but I'm going to tell you the 5 things you got to have for a trust to be in effect legally and effective for your intentions.
Okay? Hold on for a second. All right. So, Lashawn is normally my note taker. So for somebody out there that's watching, Tam, Tiki T, Tiffany, somebody, I'm going to need y'all to tear the chat up, okay? Y'all need to take notes for the people that's coming back. And for those of you who may be writing down your own notes, I get it. I understand. I got it. You may not want to do it in 2 places. But look, think of someone other than yourself. Help the people out so they can have this information as well. Okay. All right. The note taker is here. So I need somebody to step up to the plate. Thank you so much. For those of you who are taking notes inside of the chat, I know y'all going to help us out. All right, Lashawn, let's get into it.
All right.
Give us these 5 must-haves in order for us to be ready to build our trust.
Like my brother in love, John Merriweather, I like a little list, because that's how you get started. So point number 1, for a component and how to build and a mechanism of a trust, the first thing you need to do is identify the parties of the trust. So the parties of the trust is number 1. And who are the parties of a trust? Well, there are 3 or more, but 3 are the 3 positions of a party. So first is the grantor. So the grantor is the owner and the creator of the trust. And then the second party is the trustee or trustees. So that's why I say you got to have at least 3 people to tango, but then you can add more. The trustee is the owner of the property in the trust and the person who manages the items in the trust for the benefit of the third party, which is the beneficiary or beneficiaries. So the three parties that you must have for a trust is the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to help him out.
And while you are taking it down, Sissy,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you and give you an example of that.
Okay.
So, for a trust and the parties of a trust, the grantor. So, for example, if I say I want to create a trust for the benefit of my nieces, I am the grantor. I'm the person who is creating the trust. Okay. And then I say, well, I need someone to control and manage the trust. I then say, I'm going to appoint my sister, Dineen, as the trustee. And Dineen will be responsible for managing the items inside the trust on my behalf and for behalf of the grantor and for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Then the beneficiaries will be my sweet little nieces, Dineen and Samiri. So that is the example of the parties of a trust. The grantor is the owner, the one who comes up with it and creates it. The trustee is the one that manages it, and the beneficiary is the ones that reap all the gifts from the trust.
That would be the babies. That would be Samira DJ. She said she already said it. So don't be calling looking for nothing, no parts of her trust. Her trusts are already spoken for. Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
And I could give it just a side note. The grantor or the trustee can also be beneficiaries of the trust also. So my sissy won't be left out. She
Come
can
on.
also be a beneficiary. But because also for two reasons, in that instance, an example, is that Dineen and Samaria today are minors. Okay. So they would have to have somebody that would manage whatever gifts that was given to them in an inheritance. So that will more than likely be their parent or someone of legal age, 18 and older. And you can create a trust and be a trustee, but also be a beneficiary on the back end at the death of the grantor. Okay. The trustee is really the person to manage it because remember, a trust is a living and breathing document that works while you are alive as a grantor and then after death, because at that point, there will probably be some distribution of property or assets. Okay. So that's number one, the parties of a trust. Number two is the grantor's ability to create a trust that has to be determined. And there are 3 C's in regards to how that is determined. One is capacity, and that's easy. Is the grantor of legal age, meaning 18 and older, and that may be 21 or older, depending on what state you're in. And does the grantor have the capacity mentally to create a trust? So a person with dementia that you know have diagnosed dementia, or a person under duress, meaning Denise forces me to create a trust for her benefit, or some kind of coercion.
I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't. But if there's someone that has created a trust in that way and made a grantor create a trust under those circumstances, then that is a question of capacity, and that may be challenged in a court of law. So you want to make sure, one, that the grantor's ability to create the trust is through capacity, that he or she is mentally able to do the trust, and they're of sound mind, and they are legal age. Then there's also constitution. And what that means is a legal term that says basically that the grantor is transferring the property over to the trustee. Because once that property is put into the trustee must have ownership ability to be able to manage the trust. Okay. So they want to have to verify that what they're putting into the trust, the grantor, is theirs and it's not someone else's property. And then the trustee takes ownership because they have a fiduciary duty or legal duty and is legally bound to do what's legally appropriate for that state in regards to that trust. So that's constitution is the second thing. And then the last thing is certainty. And that is a three-prong of the certainty. So the certainty part is you must be certain of the intention of the grantor for the creation of the trust. That's going to be outlined. Also, the certainty of the property, meaning the things that the grantor is putting in, is it still theirs? Do they still have it? Is it of value? So you don't want to put in something that, come to find out, your beneficiaries is going to wind up paying debt upon. So that's the other thing. And then the last thing is the certainty of the trustees and the identification of the beneficiaries and how they will benefit from it. So those things have to be outlined. And let me repeat it again. For the certainty part, the intentions of the grantor for creating the trust. So who are he or she creating it for? Then creating it for to pass on property after death, or something they want done during their lifetime. There also is whether there is a certainty of the property, what they're transferring into the trust is really their property and is of value, because you don't want to transfer something in that is now worth nothing. And then the last thing is the certainty of what is the intention for the beneficiaries. How are they supposed to benefit from this trust? Is it a transfer of property? Is it a transfer of liquidity or investments or etc.? So those are the three things that is under the umbrella of the grantor's ability to create a trust. That has to be answered prior to actually creating the trust document. Okay?
All right.
Point number 3, the trust instrument or trust deed itself. So the trust deed is the actual document that tells you several things. And are you ready? Because I see my sisters taking copious notes. The first thing is you want to identify the trustees. Okay, so that has to be outlined in the trust actual document or instrument or deed, as they call it legally. Also, the identification of the beneficiary. So we need to know who this is going to go to at some point. The length of time of the trust, because a trust can be during someone's lifetime or it can only be effective after the death of the grantor. Okay. Also, the intentions of the trust for the beneficiaries that has to be outlined, and also the duties and the powers of the trustee, because legally trustees can run amok. That's why they have to have guidelines on what the grantor wants them to do with the trust and how the grantor wants them to proceed with their trust. So the main things you're looking for is the length of time of the trust, the identification of the trustees, the identification of the beneficiaries. You're looking at the intentions of what they're trying to do as far as the beneficiaries, and also the duties and the powers of the trustee. That probably should be number 1 in that document, but it's going to explain all the rules that governs the trustee's powers. Okay.
So what she's saying is you got to outline what you want the trustee to do. If you're the grantor and you have the asset and you're assigning the trustee, like she would assign me to be the trustee over DJ and Samira's, whatever it is she wants to give to them, then she has to give me instructions on how she wants me to carry that out. And she said that trustees can run amok. So if you don't give them instructions, they can pretty much do what they want to do if you don't tell them what to do. And you don't want that. You don't want, to get into a person's hands and they're not able to manage it the way that you would want them to manage it. So make sure you do your due diligence with 80% of the planning, 20% of the execution. So this is the 80%, right? To get the trust done, it's going to take some effort and it's going to take time. And you need to make sure you give it the amount of time so it's a document or a deed that you're going to be happy about.
And furthermore, just to add on to that, Dineen, you're correct, completely correct, that it is 80% planning. That's why it's important to do a trust with a lawyer. I know you can buy things online.
Say it again.
Do a trust with a lawyer.
Not LegalZoom.
Correct, because what winds up happening is those duties also are fiduciary duties that are governed by state, that is laws that are applicable for the state that you have to trust in, and your trustee can be liable criminally or civilly for not following what is the duties and powers in that trust. So this is a legal document, and so a lawyer should handle it. All right.
Got it. Got it.
All
Don't do
right.
it yourself. This ain't no popcorn. This ain't no DIY. Is that what it is? Do it myself. Do what is it?
DIY.
Yeah, DIY. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it yourself. This is not one of those things. Get you some help. Get you some help. All right. Fantastic.
All right.
Number 4.
All right. The actual trust fund. So this is the thing we always hear. What is the trust fund? Well, that's the assets. So the trust fund is also, that is the main component, because this is the thing or the things that the beneficiaries are going to benefit from, whether that's on earth while the grantor is alive or after the grantor is deceased. So assets, and we're going to just touch on this briefly because I have talked about this on my page several times, and I don't want people to feel like they can't put something in trust because they feel like they don't have enough assets. Mm-hmm. So things that we usually see in trust and things that could go in trust, it could be intangible and tangible items. Intangible items, your investments, your life insurance policies, those can go inside of a trust. What we usually see is tangible items, real property, meaning land. We usually see art or fine jewelry, antique cars, and then the most popular thing that is put in the trust is a home. Okay, so the caveat about that is, if you are still paying on that home, you must ask the bank who is providing you the loan for the home if you can put a home in the trust. So there's always a dispute is, can you put your actual physical residence in a trust? Yes, you can, and it actually has no tax consequences. If you put your rental property in a trust, there is a tax consequence. So again, when you're dealing with anything that you are still paying upon, you must first get permission from your mortgage company to see if that is legally able to be transferred in, because what is required to be given to the property, to the trustees, is the title of those properties. So when you're dealing with real property, each tract of land has to be identified and put in that trust. And a lawyer is going to verify that, one, if you own that property, they're going to verify the size of that property, etc. So it is very important to understand that if you are still mortgaging a home and land, you must make sure, if you're going to put your house in, that you have to verify that you can put it in. Now, if you have paid for your home, you can put your residential home in a trust, okay? And it is no problem for doing that. And you could do that either just physically putting it in a home or a pour-over will to put in other personal property into your trust fund. So, assets again, that is the trust fund. What assets you have, you can get it in there in as many ways as you can, and it can be intangible or tangible items, meaning land, which is the most popular thing that people put into trust, because of course there is a tax consequence and a tax break if you put a piece of land in a trust and it just naturally passes to your beneficiaries, versus if you go through probate with a piece of land, there is a gift tax. So that is why so many people put land in a trust, because they are trying to avoid probate and going through the probate process, because with the trust, you do not have to do that at all. You never have to go to court. It will naturally pass. And there is a tax consequence when you transfer property via probate versus a trust. So assets, again, is the items that will go into trust, the trust fund, and that could be intangible or tangible, and it could be anything, including debt. Some people put debt in the trust. I don't know why you would do that, but you can put debt also in the trust, because it's going to find you anyway, because your creditors is going to find some stuff. So anyway, those are the things you can put in, and a trust fund is created by your assets. All right.
Okay. All right. We got it. I'm sorry, y'all. Can't recap this legal stuff. Y'all better take the notes. Number 5. Let's
Number
go.
5 is the letter of wishes, or the
Oh,
intentions of the beneficiary or the beneficiaries that the grantor outlines. So it's called different things in different states. Sometimes it says intention of possession. Sometimes it says intentions of the grantor. But the letter of wishes is basically saying, this is how I want everything distributed. And this is the distribution list that says, okay, grantor Lashawn wants beneficiary Dineen to have this, this, and this. And this is also how we determine, for example, if we think back for Whitney Houston and the trust situation with Bobby Christina. Okay. So Whitney Houston created a trust back when she got the $100 million contract. Okay. Her dad created a trust for her. And in that trust, she put in the trust $10 million that she set aside for Bobby Christina to be paid out in portions of time. So Bobby Christina had to have an age. So she had to reach 21 to get the first half of it. Then she had to reach 25, and then she had to reach 30. Okay. So it was like a 3-point split each time. So she would get $3.3 million one time. She would get $3.3 million the other time, and then she'll get $3.4 million at the end. So the letter of wishes does those kind of things. It determines how the assets will be distributed to the beneficiaries, and it outlines it to a T. So if you have stepped times that you want your property to be distributed out after your death, then that can happen. Or you can extend out your assets well past your last living beneficiary in that trust. So if you have 2 trustees, say it's me and you, and then we are also the beneficiaries, then I don't have any kids, but you have children. So the distribution, the letter of wills basically can give permission that this can last well past your youngest child, which is Samira's 21st birthday, and 10 times past that. So you can outline how long you want these things to be distributed out and how you want to distribute it out. If you have a certain piece of property, like mom left you a fine piece of jewelry, that could have been put in the trust and said, okay, upon my death, this piece of jewelry will go to my daughter, Dineen. And it will be distributed immediately, or 5 years to let it appraise higher. She could have said, okay, in 10 years, it'll be worth $10,000. And I want my daughter to get it then at the highest appraised value. So you can fashion it any way you want to as a grantor, but the letter of wishes basically is what it is. It is how you wish your property to be distributed to your beneficiaries that are identified in the trust.
Okay, so we got to go back to number 1, because I think I put the points, but I didn't put what it was. So what was number 1? The what?
Number 1 was the parties of a trust.
Parties. That's what it was, of a trust.
Yes.
Okay. I think we got it. Let's do a quick recap. Number 1, let me slide it on up here. My technology here. So the first one was the parties of the trust. That's the grantor, the grantee, the beneficiaries.
The grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiaries.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
The grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary of the trust.
Correct.
Okay. The second one was capacity.
The grantor's ability to create a trust. And it was 3 things underneath that.
Oh, nope. Let me get that. The grantor's
ability to create a trust.
The grantor's ability to create a trust.
Correct. And then there's 3 C's under that. 3 things that we have to look at.
That's what was messing me up here. All these things.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No. This is good. This is good. Okay, here we go. All right. The grantor's ability to create a trust. That was capacity.
Number 2. Correct.
That's number 2. Capacity, constitution, certainty.
Correct.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3 was the actual trust instrument or trust deed.
The trust deed. We started getting it together at number 3. Just want y'all to know that. Number 4.
You're doing a great job, Sissy, with the notes.
Thank you.
Number 4 was the trust fund. That is your assets. Easy. Okay.
And then number 5
is the letter of wishes, which was Denise's favorite. And that is basically the grantor outline. You know, we all like the letter of wishes.
Come on, tell me what you're wishing. Tell me what you're wishing.
The letter of wishes is basically the intentions of the grantor for what he or she plans to give to the beneficiaries, and how that property or assets will be distributed.
Okay, look, y'all. Here's the link on the screen. I need you to go ahead, like right now, register to win. Because what are you going to actually be giving away today, Lashawn?
You know, a free consultation.
Come on.
Consultation.
Tell us what that includes, so people can really be excited. Don't be afraid. Now, don't be scared. You got to do this with somebody. Correct. Why not somebody that we trust in this community?
That's it. Honor yourselves. Honor yourself by building it. It really is honoring your legacy. And by how you do that is building the trust. And so how do you honor your legacy? By doing the things that you need to do to estate plan. I know you're scared. I know it seems cumbersome, but just start. And so the free consultation is 1 hour. It's valued at $150. So you don't have to pay that at all. And we get to discuss all your estate planning needs. We talk about what your life insurance is. We do a financial assessment. We do all of that stuff in 1 hour. It usually runs over, and I don't charge for it over, but it is 1 hour. And the reason for that is that I have to get a picture of your portfolio so that we can see what documents you need. You may not need a trust. If you only have a house and you know squarely how you want to deal with that house, you may not need a trust. But if you got 200 acres of land, I suggest you get a trust. And so understand that trusts take time. They're very expensive. There are different ways to do trust. So you can have an irrevocable trust or revocable trust. And I won't get into the definitions of that, but I will refer you to my Facebook page where I have explained all of this several times, from April 2021 to July 2022, June 2023. And now I've been talking about trust for the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of December of this month. So go back, catch those videos, catch the posts, because I've actually kind of coincided this week with this conversation today. So I would recommend that you go to my Facebook page, which is Lashawn Mikell, and catch up about trust, because 30 minutes is just not enough time to explain it, but 1 hour I could get a better idea. So the free consultation, we could talk about whether you need a trust or not, or do you just need a will or power of attorney or advance directive. I do all of those documents, and you need a lawyer to assist you to do them, and primarily one that's in your state, but I can assist you in finding what you need to get started. So just get started. And for the new year, what better way to honor yourself by honoring your legacy and building a trust? And that doesn't necessarily need to be a trust document, but making sure that your estate planning needs are met and outlined, so your family will not be fighting and guessing on what's happening with you once you pass away, what's going to happen to your estate. Have that stuff done. It's easier than you think. And I can promise you, the couple of hundreds of dollars that you spend and thousands of dollars you spend on doing these items is much less expensive than you in a court fighting because you did not have things outlined. So I just implore you all to, again, a part of your New Year's resolutions is something that you can really achieve. Like, instead of saying I want to lose 50 pounds by March, get your estate planning done, because you can get that done in 2-3 sessions.
All right. So there it is. This is her Facebook page here on the screen. Make sure you do that. Again, if you want that free consultation, that's the link to register. Go ahead and register. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to win it. Like my sister been winning all the things because y'all not registering, y'all not showing up. So you got to show up. So my sister don't have to keep winning all the things. All right, so listen, always looking forward to see you. You got to be in it to win it. This is day five of Dineen 12 Days of Christmas. Okay, so tomorrow, day six, I have Penny DePaz. Now, you know, I love Penny. Penny is my landmark mastermind person that I meet with every Monday, okay, for my accountability on the things that I say that I want to get done within the next week. She's the person that holds me accountable. She's going to give you ways to honor your life by prioritizing your life. Okay, so 6 steps to prioritize your life. Honor yourself. Come on, get it together. Stop talking about the things that you want, but you ain't becoming the person to be able to do the things to have what you're talking about. So she's going to help you with ways to prioritize the things that you talk about so it becomes easier, tangible. Remember, 80% planning, 20% execution. That's what I'm hanging on to going into 2024. Join me. Don't leave me by myself. Come on,
I'm with you. I'm in.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right, you guys. I love you. Always looking forward to serving you. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:00 p.m. sharp. We're going to talk about how you can prioritize your life with Penny DePaz. Thank you so much for being here, Lashawn. Always a pleasure having these legal conversations with you. The things that we may not think about, may be afraid to think about, but just know that eventually life will come to an end. And why not be prepared when that happens instead of leaving your family scrambling, trying to figure out what it is that they need to do with the assets that you've left behind. Always looking forward to serving you. Thank you again, Lashawn. We love you.
Oh, love you all too. And thank you so much again, Sissy, for having me. And I hope this has been helpful to y'all. Happy holidays and thank y'all.
Thank you. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.